Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear.
How goes it? I've been better. I hope things get better.
Hello, everybody. This is St. Donald Binks coming at you with another Fallout Theory video. Not really much of a theory, but so after Fallout New Vegas, Shady Sands was destroyed by some devastating force. I think it was a nuke, but maybe it wasn't. So I personally believe that the Enclave was in collaboration with the post-war Vault-Tec and destroyed it, but I digress. Also, side note, Todd Howard did confirm that Shady Sands was nuked after Fallout New Vegas, so all the Fallout New Vegas fanboys can lower their pitchforks. So, let's start with reasons why the NCR would have at least gone into a decline. First of all, the New California Republic was struggling to stay afloat long before the events of the Fallout TV show. And while I don't believe they totally collapsed, let's get into the first reason. First of all, the NCR had been fighting war after war after war in succession. First with the Enclave, then the Brotherhood of Steel, the Western Coast one, and finally Caesar's Legion. And on top of that, the NCR was severely overextended, which was leaving large swaths of land unprotected within their own border. In Fallout New Vegas, if we talk to Hanlon at Camp Golf, he kind of elaborates on how the NCR is not using water to the best of their ability.
Back west, you don't see too many of these. Lakes, I mean. Natural or man-made. Any kind, really. We neglected the dams or pumped all the water out a long time ago. Owens, Isabella, the San Luis. Drained the aquifers of everything they had. Just a lot of mud and dust now. It's a different feeling watching the sun come up over the water. Takes some getting used to. But if you're here long enough, it starts to seem normal. That's what a ranger's life is now, looking east.
So the NCR is taking way too much water that they can't afford, much like real California today. So Hildern also tells you that the studies that they've been comparing for the NCR's population versus their production, that they're going to be facing mass starvations in a decade or so.
Not yet, but our government understands the value of proactive thought. Our studies project an imbalance between production and consumption. Or, for a layman such as yourself, not enough food, too many mouths to feed. Mass starvation in a decade or so.
Just a reminder that Fallout New Vegas, at the time of this quote, takes place in 2281. And the Fallout TV show takes place in 2296. That's over a decade, if you didn't know. So, also, O'Hanrahan talks about how they've had pretty bad harvests several times in a row now that have caused them to join the army.
Well, as it turns out, we had a string of bad harvests a few years back. Pa said he couldn't afford to feed but 3 youngins or we'd starve. As the biggest one, it was my job to go join the army so's my sisters could eat and so's we wouldn't all be killed by raiders and Jesus would love us. It's all right, I guess. I don't like all the fighting we gotta do, though.
As in, many NCR soldiers are joining the army just to be fed. That really tells you how bad a shape the NCR home turf was by the times of Fallout New Vegas. Arcade also tells you that the NCR is running out of medical supplies. So, the government at the NCR can't pay people either because the NCR dollar is a fiat currency before they were really strong enough to even enforce that. You see, during the NCR Brotherhood War, the Western Brotherhood destroyed the NCR's gold reserves. So now their currency has absolutely no backing, meaning that the bottle cap is now the normal currency. Not to mention, another note, that the NCR government is notoriously corrupt by the times of Fallout New Vegas. So Shady Sands, which was the prior capital, had a population of 35,000. This would not cause a nation of 700 to collapse, but it would certainly send them into a death spiral. And seeing as President Kimball's photograph was at the Shady Sands Memorial in the TV show, I'm gonna assume him, along with a good chunk of the government representatives, were killed in the nuking of Shady Sands. Now, this is both a blessing and a curse. So, with the majority of the government officials dead, the remnants of the NCR may be able to start anew. Maybe the remnants started a dictatorship and declared martial law, or maybe the communities to the north of the NCR quickly put new, competent people into office. Either way, with all the problems that the NCR was facing in the 2280s, they likely receded territorially to compose themselves up north. Kind of like a rotting limb, the NCR had to cut the Southern California limb off to save the whole body. So we know we will see more of the NCR as well, because Todd Howard himself says it's not the last we'll see of them. While he likely only said this because a portion of the fan base is having a spasm over the nuking of Shady Sands and jumping to conclusions, this is pretty vital confirmation that the NCR is alive in some organized capacity. See, Moldaver's raiders are simply the unlucky few who had been left behind. If the NCR pulled out of the region, the survivors would probably be out for blood. Many might have migrated to the NCR up north, which surely would cause a crisis, but Moldaver and other survivors likely stayed in the wasteland for revenge. So, I don't see Bethesda destroying the NCR at all. And it's not just because they're a fan favorite faction or they might get backlash. It's because they've been hinting at it for so long. You see, in Fallout 1, Shady Sands is just this dying village cursed to fucking die, right? Fallout 2, Shady Sands is starting to expand. They're doing better, right? And then Fallout New Vegas comes around and they got some pretty incompetent leadership, and the democracy as a whole is starting to fail. And they have so many external crises and internal crises that it's a miracle that they even survived as long as they did. It is not realistic for this post-nuclear nation, which spans hundreds, thousands of square miles, to have survived as well as it did against another, how do I put this? The Brotherhood of Steel were a technologically superior force, and the Enclave, which is the literal surviving pre-war government with all their fancy technology, out for a war of eradication. And then Caesar's Legion, which is a militaristic dictatorship where NCR just stands no chance against them. But they still won in some capacity. We know that. It's interesting that there's NCR vertebrates in New Vegas by the end of the Fallout show. Perhaps this means the NCR ending is canon. I don't think they're going to canonize an ending. They'll probably find a way around it, and they'll have some sort of reason why New Vegas is in the shape it is. But the NCR is not dead. They're still alive. They're still kicking. And we'll see them again. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Saint Donald Bates, signing out.
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.